Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another little mini poetry reading for the month of December. I hope everyone is having an enjoyable fall/winter. And yeah, I think without much further ado, let's just get into some poetries. The Night Before Christmas, or A Visit from St. Gothicus. This is a repost of the wonderful treatment of Twas the Night Before Christmas with somber and tormented apologies. Right. The Night Before Christmas, or A Visit from St. Gothicus by David A. Echelon. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through our house was blasting the St. Victus dance by Bauhaus. Torn fishnets were draped on my forearms with care, and 2 cans of aquanet applied to my hair. My thoughts were of graveyards and horror and dread, black visions of pain and despair in my head. And Bianca, whose face was as pale as the moon, had thrown up her arms for this evening's swoon. When out of by the gravestones there came such a clatter, I sprang from the coffin to find out the matter. Away to the window I flew like a ghost, expecting to find a dark, devilish host. The moon on the breast of the uncaring snow threw ominous shadows on objects below. When before my tormented eyes did traverse but a gorgeous black crane and breed carved panel hearse, with a gaunt, shrouded driver who filled me with fear, and 8 skeletal creatures that might have been dear. More rapid than vultures his courses they came, and his deep eldritch voice called them by name.
Now Murphy, now Morgoth, now torment and woe, on Dreadful, on Lovecraft, Mephisto and Poe, to the top of the gravestones where fog wisps its breath. With the weight on my soul, I consign you to death.
As dead leaves that before hellish hurricanes fly, when they flutter like giant bat wings to the sky, so up to the crypt top the courses they leapt, while dearest Bianca, like death, still but slept. And then, to my horror, I heard on the roof the clicking and scratching of each bone-white hoof. As I drew in my arm and was whirling around, down the ebony chimney he came without sound. He was clad all in black, and he looked oh so goth, a billowy ensemble of crushed velvet cloth. His boots were knee-high, quite buckled and zipped, and the spandex and fishnets round his legs were ripped. His eyes glowed with bluish fire, deathly and cold, and black-eyed linered face neither youthful nor old. A broad lipless mouth drawn with torment and hurt, and his sorrowful face was as white as my shirt. A smoldering cigarette tight in his grasp, its smoke curling eerily round his cloak clasp. His gaunt frame was topped with long ebony hair, and a sharp scent of brimstone and cloves choked the air. His arms were outspread in the shape of a cross, as I quailed when I saw him, feeling sorrow and loss. He narrowed his eyes with a twist of his head, and I felt the full weight of his angst and dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his task, left some Dead Can Dance CDs before I could ask. A single tear fell across his aquiline nose, and then, like an angel, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his hearse, to his team he then hissed, and away they all drifted like eerily dawn's mist. But I heard him intone ere he vanished from sight.
Gothic Christmas to all, and to all a good fright.
'Twas the Night Before Yuletide by Emma Tuzio. 'Twas the night before Yuletide, and all through the glen not a creature was stirring, not a fox, not a hen. A mantle of snow shone brightly that night as it lay on the ground, reflecting moonlight. The fairies were nestled all snug in their trees, unmindful of flurries and the chilly north breeze. The elves and the gnomes were down in their burrows, sleeping like babies in their soft earthen furrows. When lo, the earth moved with a thunderous quake, causing chairs to fall over and dishes to break. The little folks scrambled to get to their feet, then raced to the river where they usually meet. What happened? They wondered, they questioned, they probed, as they shivered in nightclothes, some bare-armed, some robed. What caused the earth shudder? What caused her to shiver? They all spoke at once as they stood by the river. Then what to their wondering eyes should appear but a shining gold light in the shape of a sphere? It blinked and it twinkled, it winked like an eye, then it flew straight up and was lost in the sky. Before they could murmur, before they could bustle, there emerged from the crowd, with a swish and a rustle, a stately old crone with her hand on a cane, resplendent in green with a flowing white mane. As she passed by them, the old crone's perfume, smelling of meadows and flowers of bloom, made each of the Fey folk think of the spring when the earth wakes from slumber and the birds start to sing. My name is Gaia, the old crone proclaimed, in a voice that at once was both wild and tamed. I've come to remind you, for you seem to forget, that Yule is a time of rebirth. And yet, I see no hearth fires, hear no music, no bells. The air isn't filled with rich, fragrant smells of baking and roasting and simmering stews, of cider that's mulled or other hot brews. There aren't any children that play in the snow or houses lit up by candles' glow. Have you forgotten, my children, the fun of celebrating the rebirth of the sun? She looked at the Fey folk, her eyes going round as they shuffled their feet and stared at the ground. Then she smiled the smile that brings light to the day. Come, my children, she said, let's play. They gathered the mistletoe, gathered the holly, threw off the drab and drew on the jolly. They lit a big bonfire and they danced and they sang. They brought out the bells and clapped when they rang. They strung lights on the trees and bows, oh so merry, in colors of cranberry, bayberry, cherry. They built giant snowmen and adored them with hats. They surrounded them with snowbirds and snow cats and bats. Then, just before dawn, at the end of their fest, before they went homeward to seek out their rest, the Fey folk, they gathered round their favorite oak tree and welcomed the sun 'neath the tree's finery. They were just reaching home when it suddenly came. The gold light returned like an arrow, shot flame. It lit up on the treetop where they could see from afar the golden-like sphere turned into a star. The old crone just smiled at the beautiful sight. Happy Yuletide, my children, she whispered. Good night. Well, I believe that is it for this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed these two very different renditions of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. And I hope you are all having a pleasant day, evening. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all those things. And please be sure to check out my Patreon. A lot of the current things that I do, the fairy tales that I read, and my own personal writings get released there early for those of you that are interested. And I also have spicy art for my higher tiers. So if you could check that out, that would be amazing. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a lovely evening, and I will see you all in the next one.